I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on work and time. These word problems are very popular in many competitive tests, and we are supposed to answer them within a minute's time. In this video, we will learn all these strategies where persons working together or alone can complete a job in fixed number of days. We'll take up 2 persons and 3 persons cases. I will also share with you some shortcut formulae so that you can answer these questions within a minute. Right? So the type of questions we'll discuss are like this. In first set, we'll say A can complete a job in 10 days, B can do it in 15 days. Together, they can complete it in how many days? Question 2, A can complete a job in 12 days, B can do it in 18 days. Together, they can complete it in how many days? Similar to the previous one, right? Just for practice. 3. A can complete the job in 20 days. A and B together can complete the job in 4 days. B alone can do it in how many days? Fourth is A can complete the job in 12 days. A and B together can complete it in 4 days. B alone can do it in how many days, right? And then we will have strategies for when 3 persons work together. Anil can paint a house in A days, Ben can do it in B days, Cindy can do it in C days. Together, they can complete it in how many days, right? So we'll get a formula here. Once we work with the formula, here is an example to practice where we'll provide numbers to A, B, and C. And then we'll have slightly tricky questions, but, well, persons working together or alone will only be considered. Anil and Ben can paint a house in 10 days. Ben and Cindy can do it in 12 days. Anil and Cindy can paint it in 20 days. How many days will they take to paint the house together? And the last question in this series will be, Anil can paint a house in 10 days. Ben can do it in 12 days. Anil, Ben and Peter together can paint it in 4 days. How many days will Peter take to paint it alone? And the last question is, how many days will Peter and Ben will take to paint the house? Right? So these are the questions which we are going to share. So let's actually begin with the general method of solving such questions. So we'll discuss a very general way and then we'll take up our examples one by one. So this is our strategy number 1. Anil can paint a house in A days, right? And Ben can do it in B days. When we say that, we say one complete job takes A days to complete by Anil. So in this, basically, you need to find rate of work done. So that is today, how much can Anil paint in one day? So we are asking one question. How much can Anil do in one day? How much work in a day, right? So that is the question to be answered, right? So, well, in one day, what really happens? We say Anil can paint a house in A days. In one day, he can paint only 1 over A of that fraction, right? Ben can do it in B days. So in one day, Ben can do only 1 over B. Together means add them. Ben will do 1 over B in a day. And together they will do how much? 1 over T. Let T be that together. You get my point, right? So that is how we kind of get our formula. So this is your general formula, where you can find together they can complete it in how many days? That is our letter T, right? So T will give you together. So you can solve this by taking a common denominator. So it is product of A and B. Here it becomes B plus A equals to 1 over T. And that gives you the formula, right? So very simple formula right there for you. So let me put it in block. We can use this formula and straight away answer all the questions for together. So together will be, just flip it, right? So AB over A plus B, correct? That is what happens when they work together. So these days will be given to you, just multiply them and divide by their sum, right? So product divided by sum is what happens when they work together. Is that clear? So that is our formula number 1, which will be used to find how much time a job will take when two persons work together all the time, right? Now there's a variation to this. The variation is kind of like this. Anil can complete a job in 8 days. Anil and Ben together can do it in T days. B alone can do it in how many days? That means we need to isolate B, right? So equation basically is same. Equation is same, which is 1 over A plus 1 over B equals to 1 over T. The only thing is, in these type of questions, we don't know what one person can do. We know what both can do, right? So we isolate them. So we need to find what 1 over B is. So we say 1 over B should be equal to what? 1 over T minus 1 over A, right? So that gives you what? So if you rearrange, you get 1 over B is, now again take the common denominator, which is T times A, and here it becomes A minus T, and then you flip it. When you flip it, you get your second formula to work with, and these two formulas can always give you immediate result when two persons are working together or alone, right? So this time, as expected, the difference comes in the denominator. Is that okay? Always these quantities will be positive. Days cannot be negative, correct? Remember that. So just take the difference and then divide by the difference. So you divide by the sum when together comes into picture, less number of days. When only one, more days, divide by the difference. Is that clear to you? So that becomes the base for us to solve the first set of 4 questions. So I hope these formulas are well understood. Let's now begin and answer our questions. So these are the 4 questions which are based on two persons working alone or together. The very first one is A can complete the job in 10 days, B can do it in 15 days. Together, they can complete it in how many days? If you don't remember the formula, at least remember the concept. A can do it in 10 days. So in 1 day, 1/10 of the job. For B, in 1 day, 1/15 of the job. So total together, 1 T of the job, where T is together, right? So from here, we get our value for T. So we can say T is equal to, so we kind of flipped it, right? So you just multiply these two, which is 15 times 10, right? And then add them up. So we have 15 plus 10, 25. And so you have 25 here. So it is 15 times 10 divided by 25. Simplify this. 5 times 5, 5 times 3, 5 times 2. And what you get here is 6. So together they can complete the job in 6 days. Is that clear? So that reminds you of the formula. Now this time we'll apply the formula directly. A can complete the job in 12 days, B can do it in 18 days. Together they can complete it in how many days? So together they will do it in 12 times 18. Just multiply these two. And denominator will be add them up. Correct? So we have no need to actually multiply. We'll simplify and then get the answer. So 2 plus 8 is 10. 1 plus 1 and then 3. So we get 13 here. Dividing by 2, we get 15, correct? And we get here, dividing by 2, we get 9. And then let's divide this by 3. 3 and 5, correct? Now we get a number. We have 36 divided by 5, correct? So the value is in fractions or in decimals. We can take 5 times 7 whole, right? 7 whole, 35, 1/5 of a day, right? So that becomes your answer. 3. A can complete the job in 20 days. A and B together can complete it in 4 days. B alone can do it in how many days, right? So for B alone, what we need to figure out is multiply the 2, right? So which is 20 times 4. And this time subtract, right? So it is 20 minus 4, correct? So we have 20 times 4. And when you subtract, you get 16 here. Now simplify 4 times 5 and 4 times 4. 4 and 4 cancel. So we get 5 here, right? So B alone can do it in 5 days. The last one here is A can complete the job in 12 days. A and B together in 4 days. B alone can do it in, again do the same thing. So this is just for practicing, right? So we will multiply this time 12 with 4 and we'll take away 4 from 12. So we have 12 times 4 and denominator means 8. 4 goes 2 times, that goes 6 times. So our answer is 6 days. Do you see that? So now it is so simple. You can easily answer these questions within a minute, right? Now let's look into the next concept, and this time it is Anil can paint a house in A days, Ben can do it in B days, Cindy can complete it in C days. Together, they can complete it in how many days, right? So now we have 3 persons working together, right? So the concept is similar, but there are 3 persons. So we'll say 1 over A plus 1 over B plus 1 over C, right? So let us say Anil can do it in A days, so 1 over A is the rate. Total in 1 day, they will do 1 over T of the job, correct? Now, if you want to work with fractions, you take common denominator, which is going to be A times B times C. To get ABC, we have to multiply this with B and C, so we get BC here, right? Plus here will be A and C. And here will be A and B, right? Which is 1 over T. So we get our formula here, and the formula is T is equal to, we'll flip it, product of these 3 times, A, B and C, right? Divided by sum of product of 2 each, right? So we have BC plus AC plus AB. So that becomes your formula. Easy to remember, right? So I hope that is absolutely clear. Foundation is exactly as we did in the first case with 2 people. Now let's apply this. We have Anil can paint the house in 10 days, Ben can do it in 5 days, Cindy can do it in 6 days. Together, they can complete it in how many days? We'll apply the formula. Just multiply the 3 quantities, 10, 5 and 6, and here we'll write sum of 2 products, right? So first we'll do 10 times 5, for example, so get 50, right? Plus 10 times 6, 60, and then 5 times 6, 30. Do you see that? So that is how you could do it. You could actually simplify also. So here you see you can actually divide each number by 10, right? And so we could cancel also few terms. So it becomes slightly smaller. So we could write this as 5 times 6, and you can divide this by 10 each term, 5 plus 6 plus 3, correct? So we get 30 divided by 5 plus 6 is 11 plus 3 is 14, correct? And then again you can divide them by 2. So we get 15 over 7, correct? So dividing by 2, 15 over 7. And now you can 7 times 2 is 14 and we get 10. So remainder is 1. So we get 1 over 7. So 2 1/7 of a day is the total number of days taken if they all work together, correct? Does make sense to you? That is how you can solve the question. If we have 3 people working for the same time, we know how much individually they take to complete the job. So in all together, they will do it like this. Okay. Next question here is, Anil and Ben can paint a house in 10 days. So 2 people. We are saying Anil and Ben can paint a house in 10 days. Ben and Cindy can do it in 12 days. Anil and Cindy can paint the house in 20 days. How many days will they take to paint it while working together? Now we have made set of people, right? So we are saying Anil plus Ben can do it in 10 days, right? Ben plus Cindy can do it in 12 days. And Anil and Cindy can do it in 20 days, right? So that is what we are given. If they all work together, if we add them up, so what do we get? We have A, B, C twice, right? So we can say twice A plus B plus C together. They can do this job in, you can just add them all if they're working together. So what you get here is kind of 2 and here 42, correct? So that is the situation. So you can think as if these are three different persons, right? P, Q, R. Do you understand? We can think like this, that these are persons, right? We'll group them as one team, right? So one team, we'll call this team as P, this team as, let us say, Q, and this team as R, right? And we need the together thing, right? So this we have 2 times. So it becomes 2 times P plus Q plus R, correct? So we can again use our formula with 2. So the time taken will now be equal to, you can multiply all of them, which is 10 times 12 times 20, right? But since this is for twice the team, they will take double the time. So this 2 is for this 2. Do you understand? Okay. And the denominator will be sum of these numbers taken together. So 10 times 12 is 120 plus 10 times 20 is 200, right? Plus 12 times 20 is 240. Do you see that part? So we could do something like this. Now we can simplify, taking away 10, for example, right? We can even remove this, we can divide them by 4, right? So we'll take this 2 and we'll make it 10. Is it okay? So we're dividing this by 4. 4 times if you divide, you get 12. Divided by 4 is 3. This is 5 and this is 6. Is that clear to you? So in the numerator, what we get is 120. And in the denominator, we get 6 plus 3, 9 plus 5, again 14, right? That's what we get. And then total time, you can simplify. You can write this as 60 over 7 when you divide by 2, right? And that gives you the answer in fractions. 7 times 8 is 56, 4 is the remainder, and that is what you get. So total time will be 8 full days and 4 over 7, approximately 8.5 days. Do you see that? So even if you are given the groups, like a combination, you could still apply your formula, and that's a neat application of what we just learned, right? So I hope that helps, right? Now here is the last question. Anil can paint a house in 10 days. Ben can do it in 12 days. Anil, Ben and Peter together can paint it in 4 days. How many days will Peter take to paint it alone? And second part is, how many days will Peter and Ben will take to paint the house, right? That is a very interesting question. You can actually pause the video, answer it, and then look into my suggestions. So we are saying Anil can paint it in 10 days, Ben can do it in 12 days, and Peter, let's keep it as P days. But we are also given total together, they take 4 days, right? So we can now apply a formula for the 3, which is together should be equal to the product of these 3, right? So A times B times P divided by product, right? AB plus AP plus BP, right? So we have 4 here total. Multiply these 3, that means 10 times 12 times P, and divide by these products. So when you multiply these 2, we get 120. When you multiply this, you get plus 10P, and here you get plus 12P, correct? You could now simplify a bit, cancelling 4 with 12 as 3, right? So that is one simplification you can do. So we get 1 equals to 30P over 120 plus this is 22P, right? Now we can solve. So let's take it on the right side and solve for P, the time taken by Peter. So we'll cross multiply. So we have 120 plus 22p equals to 30p, right? So which is 120 equals to 30p minus 22p. So we have 120 equals to 8p. So 120 divided by 8 is p. So it can go 8 times 1, and so you get 15, right? So from here, 8 times 15 is 120. So we get the time for P. So how many days Peter will take? So Peter will take 15 days. Now the second part here is how many days will Peter and Ben will take, right? So let's figure this out. So Peter and Ben. So two persons working together, Peter and Ben. It should be Peter's time times the Ben time. Ben time is 12 days. Divided by their sum, right? So 15 plus 12, that's it. So now we get this as equal to 15 times 12, and that is 7 and 2, 27, right? You can simplify this dividing by 3 times 9, and you can say 3 times 4, and still you can again divide by 3. So you got 3 times 3, and that goes 3 times 5, correct? So we do get this as 20 over 3. So approximately 6 full days, and then 20 over 7 again. So 2 over 3 we can cite, right? So many days. Is that clear to you? So it has two very interesting parts, and that is how we are going to solve it. So with this, I hope you understand how we can apply a formula and get the answer. You also understand the strategy. If you forget the formula, it's not very difficult. You could do reciprocal and add them up, right? So we learned that you could do 1 over A plus 1 over B equals to 1 over T, right? Simple equation to remember. So either way, even if there are 3 people, same equation works. So I hope that should really help you to solve such questions. Feel free to write a comment, share your views. If you really like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.